Hello, people. So I thought it was about time to give everyone an update. Sam and Paul Vanderklay were talking on, I think it was my channel, not sure, uh, or maybe it was Randos United. I forget. And they started talking about how I am not streaming as much as I used to be and not around as much as I used to be. And yeah, and they're like, yeah, he's left the corner and he'll be back. And it's like, left the corner? Have I? Have I really? Because I've actually been doing more of this little corner stuff than I ever have before. In fact, it's becoming almost a full time profession for me. Well, it's really becoming full time now. But a large part of it becoming full time is me um, trying to be prepared and make sure that we're doing what I hope we're doing correctly. Um, so about a year ago, I started a addiction studies certificate to become an addiction counselor. Why? Because I want to be Chad the alcoholic when I grow up. I want I want to actually um, help people uh, recover their lives, and that's what AA does. Now, AA does it in a very specific way for people, but we have a lot of people in our little corner that it has done it for. And this little corner has been, by the way, if anybody's around who has time and wants to come on, it would be nice to have somebody to actually discuss this stuff with, as opposed to just trying to talk out into the ether. I put a link in the chat. Um, and there are people watching. I see you. You are watching. Um, so about a year ago, I started a substance abuse graduate certificate, um, and my professors told me that I really um, should get a master's degree in order to do the types of things that I want to do. Um, so last January, I started. Hey, Emma, if you can jump on, Emma, it would be really nice to have you. The I started my master's of social work, and obviously we do have mental health professionals. Teo, okay, Teo, you should jump on. People are all saying hi. There are people watching. Uh, Emma's at school and she's doing French homework. Well, you should do your homework. Um, yeah, I've been getting blamed for stopping from people from doing their homework lately, um, and I don't want to do that. But so I started my master's of social work. I've also similarly been doing actual real life work. It took a long time to make it happen. But I have been counseling, crisis counselor on Trevor's um, chat line for young people. I have been working at a domestic violence shelter for Catholic Charities. I will be doing actual counseling for a a different shelter here in Los Angeles starting soon. And so, like I've said before, um, if this is going to be real, then oh wow, Trey, you're in Puerto Rico.
I am in Puerto Rico.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm waiting for the rain to stop. It's raining at the beach, so I'm just waiting pretty much.
It's raining. God wanted our hey Chazi. God wanted the secretary for Charlie's here. So Trey is actually on our board of directors,
I know.
and I've been playing with the website. It's not really ready to launch, but it's not bad. Okay, I'm gonna kind of here. You guys can take a look at the website.
Show the logo. Just show the logo.
You can donate. You can donate. You can, in fact, donate this very minute. There is a donation link in the description. There is a donation. Here is a donation page I put into the chat. Garth was one of our first donators. You can do a recurring donation. And while gifts are nice, first of all, if you're going to make a large gift, which I hope some of you can, you know, Grim, or I would like to call you by your real name, but I won't, even though you've been using it lately. You're welcome to jump on. No, the fountain isn't going to rain over anyone.
I don't get it.
He's afraid that it's going to be an organization that's gonna try to control Grim, like as if you could control Grim.
I don't think you could. Okay.
I don't think it's possible to control Grim. Like, yeah. I don't know what he's worried about. He's a sovereign citizen. So here, I'll pull up the website, even though the website's not actually ready to go. But what was I explaining? I was explaining. So I've been trying to get Paul VanderKlay to do stuff, and actually, apparently, he is doing stuff. It was a Who song reference. I was just asking for money. Oh, you mean rain as in rain? I don't know. Honestly, it really depends how much money comes in, and it depends who actually... Look, as I have said many, many times, I have been trying to start many different projects. I've been trying to help other people do projects. And it's all a matter of whether or not those projects catch people's interests and people start doing it. Now, this one I sunk a bit of my money into, and I sunk a lot of time into. And frankly, like, I've been trying to get the types of I need to pay the $500 you want from me at least, bro. Yes. Okay, Grim. So yeah, so this is the thing. Like, I wasn't sure if I should bring it up, but I have to say to the Chino folks. I have to say to the Garth says, throw some money into the fountain. Yeah, throw some money into the fountain. So, look, when Chino was happening, it was obvious somebody was going to have to pay for the campsite. And I paid for the campsite. And it was a little bit over $500, whatever. And I was willing to bite it if nobody stayed at the campsite. Because if nobody stayed at the campsite, guess what? That would have been my campsite, and I would have been staying there over over Chino. And since there were people who were staying at the campsite, and there were more people staying at the campsite than, I mean, that wasn't the only reason, but I would have stayed at the campsite myself if there had been space for me. And it was booked. And supposedly I was going to get paid back. Now, John Van Donk has, in fact, said that he will pay me back for the campsite, because everyone recognizes that the campsite needed to be, afterwards, they realized it needed to be done. But I actually paid for it. And I'm not asking anybody to pay me back for the campsite, because that money was money well spent. I only asked for $25 a pop because I thought Jacob was biting it. I think the fountain should wash away that sin. Yeah, apparently without any, like, even asking me, he like, yeah, I was left holding the bag for the campsite. You had been asking me to pay you back until today. Thanks for noting the change. Grim, if I wanted to ask you to actually pay me back, I would have actually DM'd you and asked you to pay me back. Hello, Teo. Where are you?
On a train in Essex.
Train
That means
in
nothing to you.
Essex.
You beat me. That's unfair.
It's not quite as fancy as Puerto Rico, but
Hold on. Lord Harry lives in Essex. You should, and Guy lives in Essex. I'm pretty sure.
Lord who?
Lord Harry. Lord
Who's that?
Harry. He's single celled on my Discord server.
Wow, you really like putting that lord over him. You're literally lording over him.
I lord his lord. Yes.
Yes.
It was an investment into access to young men that paid off well. Shame you want the money back after it brought you, Mr. Fats. I have to say, the amount of people who accuse me of taking indecent liberties with young men is actually quite surprising. Like, I get accused of all kinds of. So I told Yosef, how many of those campers spent the night in your apartment? At one point, there were so many people in my apartment that I literally did not have space to sleep on the floor. I myself, like I could not spread out on the floor myself. My apartment is not very big. There were
But
8
very
people
cozy.
that night.
Yep, I was one of them.
Yep. And Trey was another.
Thank you for traveling with C2C today.
Thank you for traveling with C2C today.
See something that doesn't.
Anyway, with all that said, look, guys, if we're doing something, if we're actually doing something, I want us to actually do something. I'm going to be really blunt and rude. The people who have the time to spend hours and hours on the internet are the people, and the people who spend hours and hours on the internet are the people who don't have a real life. They don't have kids. They don't have a job. They don't have, they're not doing things in real life that they should be doing. And like Joey said, this place is not supposed to be where you live your life. This is not where our community cannot be online. Our community has to come offline. It has to. And if it's going to be real life community, then we need to pay it forward. I'm trying to make things happen in Los Angeles. I'm trying to get things offline in Los Angeles. And there's a reason why I'm focusing on the local. But we need to take all of the things that we've learned over the past, I would say 6 years, but at the very least the past 3-4 years. And we need to make it real world. And in order to do that, the people who can't be online, who are working and who have kids and who have a job, needs to contribute, and they need to pay it forward. Because I know there are people who used to watch this channel, who used to watch the other channels, who are hopefully married, but have productive offline real lives, and those people need to pay it forward. Khezi hopes you're doing well, Teo. Grizz says they should spend that money on their kids, though, but they are. That's the whole point. So let me pull up Fountain of Comfort's website, because we're actually doing stuff. Hopefully. Is that it? That's the old one. It's the new one. So this is our logo, and which thank you to his name will come back into my mind. Thanks to Matt C and some AI, we got our logo. The tagline is a public resource for mental health. And our current board of directors is Yosef Raisin is the chair. Tim Burkhart is the treasurer. Our own very own Trey Braswell is the secretary. Jules Labatut, or Labatu, I guess it is. He was donated by Father Stephen DeYoung. He is an accountant, and we're very, very grateful to Father Stephen for donating an accountant. And some of you may know Gage. He was at Chino. He is a Master's of Social Work student at the University of Connecticut, who has been also very involved. If you want to get involved and you have relevant experience or capacities, dude, yes, please volunteer. But ultimately, what we need is money. Is money, and because money does help things. And look, if you're watching my channel, I think you can give $5 a month. And it means a lot when a person gives $5 a month. It means a lot, because I can say that's somebody who actually feels like this is something worthwhile. So, like, I don't understand if you can't give $5 a month to Fountain of Comfort. It's a registered 501c3 public charity in California. The regulations in California, you should see how much paperwork I had to put in. And how much more paperwork I'm going to have to continue to put in constantly. It's going to be for mental health, where I think anybody who knows this little corner and knows me knows that it's hopefully going to help people. And I think ultimately we already are helping people. And so dude, $5 a month, and it means something if it's $5 a month. If you want to give bigger amounts, frankly, you can. If it's actually a bigger amount, PayPal takes percentage. It's a small percentage, but they take a percentage. If you're going to give a large amount, which I hope some people will, trust me, I can spend the money. I have ideas about how we can spend the money. If and I know there are people out there who can give large amounts. And if you want to give a large amount, that's beautiful. Talk to one of the board members. Talk to me. We'll talk about what we want to do with that towards mental health, and it'll be tax deductible and stuff like that. That's for the people who have the money. That's not what I'm asking for here. Right now, I'm asking $5 a month. And if you can do 20 or more or even 100, that's beautiful and that's great. And frankly, I don't think it's too much to ask for somebody who's fully employed. Like, I don't have kids. This is my kids. Teo, stop it. I'm definitely putting in more than $100 a month. Let's put it that way. And that's because this is where my heart is. And look, we're going to be having, hopefully soon, an actual telethon. We're going to do a 24-hour live stream with the various members of the board of directors. And if I can get them, I've been trying to ask some of the bigger names in this little corner. If you look on the website, so the Rebbe one of the things the Rebbe said constantly and always is any meeting of two people should benefit a third. This is one of the main teachings that the Rebbe had. And that's why so the Rebbe used to give out dollars. When people would come and see the Rebbe, it started with dimes. He used to give little kids dimes to put in charity when every time they came and saw him. And it progressed, and he used to stand there 12 hours a day sometimes. And from morning till night, and people would walk, and there's videos of this. You can find videos of this all over the internet. I'll tell you a story. Teo will appreciate this story. So there was a website called Failed Messiah, which somebody who at one point had thought the Rebbe was the Messiah, and then the Rebbe passed away. He became very, very disenchanted with the Rebbe because Failed Messiah, and he made this website which was like with obsessive compulsive hatred of the Rebbe, trying to find every bad thing he could figure out about the Rebbe. And so it was a useful website, like, to see what's the worst thing people can say about the Rebbe. And so he had this section where it was like, the Rebbe was racist. And it was like, okay, so let me see what racist things the Rebbe said, right? Now you have to remember, the Rebbe was born in 1902 in Russia, okay? He was born in 1902 in Russia, came to the United States, lived through the Crown Heights riots, right? Which were race riots. Look them up, okay? And this is the worst thing this guy could find about the Rebbe. There was a video of a black man who came and to get $1 from the Rebbe, because people would come stand in line and the Rebbe would give each of them $1 and say something to them, just talk to them briefly, so that they would put the dollar in, and they could give the dollar to whatever charity they wanted. This was the Rebbe's thing, because he said every meeting of two people should benefit a third, right? And the most racist thing this guy could find on this anti-Rebbe website, Failed Messiah, was this black guy had come up to the Rebbe for $1. And the Rebbe had given him the $1, but was talking to somebody else. Like one of his secretaries had asked him a question, and he hadn't paid attention to this one person the way that he was known to pay attention to everybody else who came by. And this was the proof that the Rebbe was a racist. So, like, come on, guys. Anyway, I am focusing. I want people to think of. I want people to think of what it means. Like, every meeting of two people should benefit a third. Do what the Rebbe did. Give the $1 to charity. And hopefully this is going to be a community project. There's a reason why I set up a 501c3. Chazi says 1 + 1 = 3. No, 1 × 1 = 3. Get the Trinity correctly. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a community project. And like I told the board of directors members, officially they own everything. They own everything. They could decide, oh, it's been nice knowing you, Jacob. Bye, and take because this is a public charity. It doesn't belong to me. The accounting is going to be public. The everything about it is like the budget is going to be public. Where the money goes, who the money goes to, everything is going to be public, and it's a real charity, and it's a real charity that's devoted to mental health, and to actually. So I'll show you guys the programs we're thinking of now. And the fact is, I mean, until we have money, we don't know what it's going to be. But first of all, at Chino, if you didn't listen to the mental health panel, I highly recommend it, even though the sound was horrible. And look, that panel at Chino is a more valuable contribution to mental health than a lot of the nonprofits that have a lot of money ever make. Listen to Dr. Gary. Listen to what he had to say, and listen to what Sevilla had to say, and what John had to say, and what Ken had to say. And we have real contributions we can make to mental health as a community, to the public, not just our individuals. So the 3 programs, and this is how I have it now. And look, if you don't, so when you go to so here is the PayPal donate page. You can do a one-time donation. You can do a monthly donation. You can do a yearly donation. Honestly, I considered instead of yearly having weekly, and I still might change it because frankly, if you're doing a yearly, you're gonna forget. Just do monthly, please. But I mean, the fees are substantial. The fees, like, out of $5, they take $1. Out of $20, they take $2. Out of $100, they take like $3. So just so you know, if you're going to be giving larger, regular amounts, like, contact us and let's cut out the middlemen, because I don't like wasting money. I'm still Jewish after all. But you can designate what the donation is. General support means unrestricted funds. Public education is, and that's on the website. I mean, so public education, counseling individuals, and professional development. Those are. Let me go back to the website. This is not it. Where's the website? Here's the website. So, I mean, you can read it yourself, but professional development. There's a growing gap between competence in mental health and professional credentialing. Fountain of Comfort aims to help align professional competence with professional credentials. We aim to provide content which educates both the public and professionals with a view of advancing mental health in our communities. We're trying to actually make it so that when you go to, one of the things Paul complained about, and he was absolutely right, is he doesn't send people to marital counseling because it's a recipe for divorce. And it is, because the way marital counseling is currently done is it's not marital counseling, it's divorce counseling. And it's telling you, go live your best life. If there's anything wrong, just ditch the marriage. Staying together for the kids is stupidity. It's like actually helping the profession be a profession. Chad, I would love to have you on. I'm only in favor of mental health treatment if it includes spiritual seeking. I agree with you. And person-to-person care by non-paid professionals. Okay, so this is part of the thing. I think the model is wrong. The idea that the person who's getting help is the one who should be paying for it is just plain wrong. That's a main reason why I think Fountain of Comfort needs to have a model where it's not the people who need the help who are paying for it. It is not the people who need the help who are paying for it. Because the model, the way as it exists, is it incentivizes the professionals to have perpetual patience. It is not a model that is meant for cures. Chad!
What up, bitches?
Hey, let me just answer
Yeah.
this question, and then I really would love your thing. Will there be anything that the state of California will prevent from happening in the organization? Hopefully not. I mean, honestly.
Like HIPAA laws and stuff?
Oh, the HIPAA laws, those are federal. So HIPAA definitely will apply. And I mean, this is one of the things volunteering at Trevor I've figured out is they deliberately avoid professionals. Like they deliberately don't have licensed people working there because they want to avoid some of the laws. And frankly, the laws they want to avoid are some of the laws I think they need to be following, especially mandatory reporting laws, which I was not like the experiences I've had, not like their philosophy goes into what they do. But it's really easy to criticize. It's really easy to say that Trevor is doing things wrong. They have a $30 million a year budget. And very, very little of that $30 million a year is actually spent on anything that's actually worthwhile.
What do you mean, like CEOs?
Oh yeah, like the money is the money goes mostly to fundraising. Like at least half of the money is going to fundraising, and then a large chunk of their actual program money goes to political advocacy and BS like that.
So it's just basically money laundering for CEOs.
I don't want to be that critical because the fact is they do have their voice and chat line, which is not worthless. It is actually doing work that needs to be done, but it's not being done as well as I wish it would be, and it's certainly not being done by very many professionals. Most of the, like, out of all of the people that I've been in contact with, 0 was a licensed professional.
Yeah.
And this is the supervisors and stuff.
But they're getting
0
paid.
licensed. What?
But they're getting paid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's a big thing, because like you want to be able to find the model that I like is you find people who are willing to put skin in the game because they were once in a particular position where they needed help, and they found help by people who had skin in the game who were not getting paid, but they were getting paid in a different way, which is being paid in like an experience with actual usefulness. And then what happens is those people, it's tough, man, because this model, I'm surprised it works at all where I see it working, but it only works because those people know that their life depends on serving others.
right. So
So like I've seen this where I live. There's a lot of like halfway houses and sober living facilities and all these kinds of organizations, and they're just bullshit. I mean, we could say that, well, if it saves one life, then it's worth it. It's like, I don't think so.
right.
Because
No,
how many
okay.
people is it distorting?
So, okay, so within substance abuse, and this is something that I've been learning a lot over the past year, is there's 2 competing models, and it's very controversial which side you support, which is the peer counseling model, and B, the professional model. And the peer counseling model, which is what you're talking about, people who've been through it, they oftentimes are volunteers. It takes, economically, it's a lot less. It's so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper, and if you're just doing dollars per results, it does so much more good work.
Yeah,
The
but
problem-
it doesn't raise money very well.
It does. It doesn't raise money very well. B, it's not really scalable. It's not something you can pump money into, and like, yeah, so Alcoholics Anonymous says they don't take donations, but guess what? They're getting donations.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Chad.
No, they're not.
They are.
Show me where they're getting donations.
I gave donations to Alcoholics Anonymous because I walked in there. I'm not an alcoholic, and I put a 20 into the bin.
You're a guy who went in there to try to prove a point, but like
no, Chad, I didn't try to prove a point.
Listen, that they don't take any money from anybody other than people who say they're alcoholics, which at that meeting you did.
No, I did not.
Well, they assumed you did because you put money in the basket.
I put money in the basket. I went in there and I said I'm not an alcoholic. I said that quite clearly.
Well, then that group is fucked up because like they're not supposed to be doing that.
They didn't ask me for the money, Chad.
Right. Well, they took your money, so that's fucking stupid.
I don't think that's effing stupid. And the fact is, AA places get donated space all the time for stuff. There are people who the idea that AA is not taking any outside help is just false, Chad. I'm sorry, it's just not true.
I'm sorry, but you're wrong, Jacob.
Anybody can
if you can tell me if you can tell me other than the like one guy Jacob or maybe some weirdo like Jacob who decides to put $20 in a basket in a meeting that they're not a member of, then I don't understand where you're saying they get money from.
The donated space.
They literally will pay lawyers to send thousands of dollars worth of money back to people who send it who aren't members.
Chad, donated
space.
So
I don't need you coming on your channel here and discrediting something that
I'm
Alcoholics
not
Anonymous
discrediting
stands on.
anything, Chad.
Of course you're not, because what you're doing is lying.
I'm lying.
Yes, you're lying. If you can show me where AA is actually taking money from other people other than you,
Chad,
then I'll believe you.
Chad,
Show
Chad.
me.
I
Tell me
told
what
you,
money.
donated
Hang on a second.
space.
Tell
I
me
told you,
where
donated space.
tell me where they're
Donated space.
tell me where they're taking money from another organization.
Donated space.
That's not money. And that's not even a common thing. Listen, a
Chad,
group is
you're just no, Chad.
Jacob,
You're just
I've been a
wrong.
member of Alcoholics Anonymous for
I
10
know.
years. I know what I'm talking about. You don't, and you're fucked up. And your little organization here is just some fucking scheme to get money out of people so you can make yourself look bigger than what you really are. You need to get your fucking shit straight.
Everybody just calm the fuck down. Sounds like.
No, fuck this guy. And if anybody's gonna put money into this fucking guy's pocket, you're fucking insane.
There
you
is
kidding me?
there is no way Jacob is just trying to get money off people. He's trying to.
No,
help people.
he's
That's for
actually trying to run his status bar up, and that's all he ever tries to do.
C2C rail service to
sure. I'm not buying that at all.
Chalkwell,
Not even for a second.
VLC, Bedfleet, Pitsea, Stanford Beho, East Tilbury, Tilbury Town, Grays,
But also, it's understandable that
Upminster,
It-
Barking,
if Chad felt like you were discrediting AA, which is something that's been very awkward to him, he got upset. And
Look,
we know Chad, but he'll be fine.
the fact is that I want there to be truth out there. If you think I'm lying, then what can I tell you? If you think that I'm a liar, there's nothing I can tell you because I'm lying. But what I'm telling you is what the actual truth is, what the situation is out there. And the situation out there is we have trouble. I have homeless people I walk past every day when I'm okay, Chad. You want to continue like this? I'll
Jacob,
just ban you from my
just-
channel.
Just ignore it and carry on with what you're saying. Focus, like Trey said.
Okay. So back to what I was saying. There are homeless people on the streets, on my street, and like I said, there's the two models. There's the peer model and there's the professional model. And the peer model is doing everything it can. And if the professional model does help actually. If it doesn't help anything at all, then maybe we need to stop spending all the money we're spending on it, because we are spending a lot of money on the professional model. There's no question. There's millions and millions, if not billions of dollars being spent on the professional model. And that money shouldn't be going to waste. And yes, there are grifters. There are definitely grifters. If you think I'm a grifter, don't give me money. But if you think that there is a place for professionals and there is a way of actually helping people beyond the peer model, then we have to do what we have to do. And I believe there is a way beyond the peer model. I'm not putting down the peer model. But there is a place for professionals. And it has to be done correctly.
What you're missing is the way to raise money in the evangelical context is to promise people if they sow a seed, they'll reap.
Teo, you were cutting in and out. Great, we lost Teo. I think what he was saying was we need an accountable way of giving money. And that's what I'm trying to do. Anybody else want to jump on? Anybody else got things to say? Did you say something, Trey? I can't hear you. Garth is pushing buttons. I have no idea why I can't hear you. I don't think it's on my side. Well, if nobody else is going to jump on, and God has prevented Trey from actually saying anything for some reason, and Teo's lost connection. Are other people hearing? Yes, chat.
So there's nothing wrong with professionals. It's when it needs to, when professionals aim to
Chad,
keep people
Chad,
on
no.
That's
First
all
of
I'm
all,
saying.
please apologize for calling me a grifter.
I didn't call you a grifter. I called you a piece of shit and a parasite.
And you believe that's true?
No, I don't. But you
Thank
really,
you.
you really upset me because,
I know.
like, you. No, why do you upset me? If you know.
I upset you because I pointed out facts you don't like.
That's not what you did.
That's not the
You're
way
only
to answer
pointing
that
out what you
question,
think you know.
Jacob.
Chad,
And like, so it's all
I
predictable.
believe these to be facts. So we have a disagreement about facts.
Okay, there, fine. That's fine. I'm okay with that. What you believe to be as a fact is fine. But for you to say this other stuff is ridiculous. What I'm trying to make about professionals is I'm not against professionalism. I'm against professionals that aim to keep people in the grips of professionals.
I completely
So,
agree with you.
I came through the pipeline via professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm not against it. I've just seen too many professionals want to keep their patients in the professionals' grips, and
I agree with you.
all while saying like what they believe to be facts, like you just did, and like hindering people's ability to recover in ways that they need to, whether it's from addictions or whatever it is. And so, like, my point is, why do you have to go and put your mouth where it doesn't belong and say some crazy crap about an organization that you really don't know about? Snapping on you, but like, I wanted to come on here and tell you that, but like, man, you really piss me off sometimes, Jake.
I realize I piss you off sometimes, and I'm sorry about that, Chad. It very much bothers me that the economic model we have of mental health incentivizes people to keep people in their grips. That's definitely true. That's something that's a huge problem. A lot of the mental health professionals I talk to tell me that they split their time between making money from people with first world problems and like lots of heartache and not much money volunteering and trying to help people who really need help. And I would like to see a model that works better than that, a model that that's actually based on helping people and not making people rich or giving them status. And you're 100% right that there is status to be gained by being the helper. And there's plenty of people in the professional model that they're honestly parasitic in their charity. So
It's not
I
charity,
hear
they're
you.
getting paid.
Well,
There's
yeah,
different.
a lot of them are, and that's even worse. But some of them aren't even getting paid, and they're doing it because it makes them feel good, and they care more about feeling good than than the people they're trying to help. Like I see that in Trevor all the time with the other volunteers. They're not invested in the other like actually solving the problem. They're
Well, you
invested
can't
in
listen.
being there.
Well, that's a big piece of it, because a lot you can't solve people's problems. So there's that. You can help people find solutions or other ways of addressing the problems that they have, but like this is the problem that professionals have. They think that they can solve these people's problems, and you cannot.
You
You
cannot
can help
say,
them.
yeah,
You can help them.
you cannot solve other people's problems. This is actually in one of my textbooks, and I think you'll really appreciate it. Let me find it. So, preoccupation with the addict's problems leads to controlling behavior on the part of the spouse, parent, or significant other. When Beth threw this is my textbook on sexual addiction, but like it's talking about a woman who threw out her husband's porn mags. When Beth threw out her husband's magazines, she was acting like the spouse of the alcoholic who pours booze down the drain. Neither one is effective in controlling addiction. Family members' efforts to control are rooted in the grandiose thinking that they can do something about shaping up the addict. And like that's a powerful, like I screenshot that out of my textbook and I've sent it to lots and lots of people.
Yeah,
Because you can't control other people.
right. What you're talking about there is like addiction 101. I mean, everybody who I know, I mean, everybody knows that. Like,
You
there's
should,
anybody
yeah.
who aims to shield themselves from this stuff is just doomed, because now you're just living in another kind of the same kind of obsession, just in a different form. So I mean, yeah, sometimes if a couple works it out that that's an appropriate thing to do, then sure. But like that in itself is not going to be a so-called, solution to their problem.
Right. And the illusion of control, frankly, what I really loved about that quote is it talks about the grandiose thinking. Like, it really is rooted in grandiose thinking that you can control someone else. And you're right, it is Addiction 101. And like, there's a reason why I'm taking the courses that I'm taking, despite the fact that vast majority of them are filled with bullshit, is if you have faith, and honestly it is a matter of faith, if you have faith that our intellectual engagement can actually mean getting things done, making things better, you have to believe that putting in like, and it's an act of faith to believe that me trying will actually make things a little bit better. But at the same time, you have to realize you can't solve people. People aren't puzzles to be solved. People
Right.
are people.
Of course. And anybody who spends time trying to help other alcoholics or addicts or whatever will suddenly, or like pastoring or something, it'll be abundantly clear that that's just a dead end.
Yeah.
Like,
And frankly, this is one of the reasons there's so much burnout among professionals. But I think part of that is the fact we're not using
yeah, no kidding.
we're not using the effective methods as effective methods. I don't think there's a lot of science. There's so much politicization of mental health that there are things we can tell these things don't work, and we're not doing it. And that's why Jordan Peterson. Look, I think Jordan Peterson uses methods that help. I think that John Vervaeke uses methods that help. I think we have something to offer to the world in terms of actual helpful things.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Yeah,
you
your
listen to the
burnout-
mental health panel at Chino?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I did.
What'd you think?
It's just, I mean, it's fine. I'm not really interested in the mental health stuff too much. Just because I hear so much of it and I'm just so sick of all of it all the time. It's just, to me, it's like I'm really burnt out on trauma hustlers and all this stuff. That I'm not saying that that's what they are. I'm just saying, like, once I just start hearing, I'm like, I don't need to hear any more of this stuff. And like the burnout rate that you're talking about is like, that's a real thing, especially when people who actually should be engaging in their own recovery are spending time getting paid to be somebody's helper. Like, first of all, the first thing they do is they stop engaging in their own recovery. And then they start to conflate helping other people in their professional life as a way of addressing their own recovery, which is not a good move.
Yeah, no, I've been
I see
seeing that.
that
So
all
in
the time.
California, they're starting to actually license peer counselors as peer counselors, and
Yeah,
it's like
life
it.
coaches and whatnot.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a disaster.
It is a disaster. You see it wherever you see it, it's a disaster. It's like that's why I think this is why the idea of doing, like, like, I'm not saying everybody needs to be in a 12-step program, but the reason why a 12-step program helps is because I have to put my own skin in the game. I don't get paid to take somebody through the steps, and let me tell you, it is not always fun. It's quite annoying. I have to deal with contentious people who aren't willing sometimes, and you have to be willing to walk away from those people when they're not willing. So like, it can
So
be a lot, and it takes a lot of practice.
let me tell you about the shelter that I'm working at, which there aren't really very many people there. It's a domestic violence shelter, so like actually substance abuse isn't like the biggest part of it, although obviously there's that too. It used to be a convent, and the nuns used to take women in and help them, and they had this program, and eventually it became a shelter, and they literally ran out of nuns. So back in like the 70s, there were like 200 nuns at the convent. Like where I am is actually a convent, right? And there used to be like 200 nuns there. Like 2 years ago, the last 2 nuns retired, and now it's filled with professionals. And the professionals are nice people who are trying to do good things. I don't think any of them are in any way like hustlers or anything like that, but it's their job, and they go home at the end of the day. It's their job. They go home. And like, it's just not the same as having a nun who lives there. You know? And so you can, and they're trying to spend money to make the same thing happen. And so we have staff, 3 shifts, 24 hours, right? 3 8-hour shifts makes for 24 hours, and you have overlapping shifts, and there's staff there all the time. But it's not the same as having an effing nun who actually lives there, and this is her life. And it can never be the same, right? And which, like, whenever I go there, and I'm, you know, I'm trying to help out as best I can, and I'm serious. The people there are nice, good people trying to do good work, but they go home at night. And it's not the same as somebody who dedicates their life to it. And I think we have to come up with a different model, a better model of how we're going to make things work today when we don't have nuns, when we don't have, but we do have communities and people who want to help. And I think the traditions in AA, which, yes, they're useful and good traditions of self-sufficiency and trying, like, it's ways of keeping influence out, which is necessary, and making sure to keep AA on track, which is also necessary. And I don't want to, like, I would never want to pervert AA. I really wouldn't. And that's a model that has to be allowed to function. At the same time, I think I hope there's a way of also helping that is from the outside. And yeah, I see the pitfalls, and you're right. And I want to hear the pitfalls. That's why I always want to listen to you, Chad, and to other people. But like, it's funny. I was talking to John Van Donk, and he jokingly said, "I guess we need Calvinist nuns now, right?" And I don't know what to say. Like, are we just gonna give up? Should I just give up on the homeless people I walk past every day? I don't think that's the right answer. I think we lost Chad.
No, you didn't lose me. I'm drilling a hole into tile right
Oh, okay. Take your time.
now. Probably making a lot of noise. No, I think everybody, if you can be useful and you can contribute to us, trying on a solution, and good, that's great. I'm not. I just, my point is that the naivety of people thinking that there is a particular solution for a thing it's insane. Like, there's always going to be these problems.
Yes.
It's like, if like you go into, like, OSHA has particular laws that came into place so they can help prevent deaths. But one thing that they found was, no matter what, there's still a minimum of something like 5,000 deaths a year ever since it started.
Yep.
So, like, there's always going to be problems.
Yes.
What's up?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right, and I very much dislike the naivete of people who think you can have one solution to a complex problem. and I think that's actually one of the big problems in mental health is a lot of people, they find the one thing they think that worked for them and they think it will work for everyone. And it's like, no, human beings are too complex about that, for that. There has to be a multi-pronged approach. And yeah, there has to be a multi-pronged approach and different people have to do different things. Phlebas says, this is like my disappointment as a child to find out our church closed. I thought that someone should live there. But Sani says, do what you can, when you can, with what you've got. Yes, but I have to say, I want to see it done professionally. Like at our first board meeting, I forget who made the comment, but they said, "Hey, why are we all engineers?" Right? Trey is an engineer. Tim is an engineer, and Yosef is an engineer. And it was like, because engineers actually like have a mentality of how do we get this done? And I think you need to have that type of thinking. Like, okay, we have a problem. How do we get this done? Trey, say something. Andre, long time no see.
How's it going, guys?
How you doing?
That's
Yeah,
his real name? Wow.
Yeah. My arms are still sore from working out on Sunday with
Good.
yeah. And we didn't do much. I think it was it was 45-pound just lifts just like this. And I think honestly it's the first time I've like really done. I did 3 sets of 8. And I think that's what still hurts.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going again today, and Andrew was suggesting core, like shoulders and back, but my arms are still sore.
Yeah. Well, what I would say for that is like soreness is not necessarily an indicator of like you need to stop. Sometimes you just have to like push through it. As bad as that sounds, but because your body like essentially builds up a tolerance to the soreness, you get fine after a while. But yeah, it does feel like stop, but actually you'll be fine.
Okay, so shoulders and back, you think, as opposed to legs? I was thinking we might switch to legs.
Yeah, I mean you can, because if anything, if your arms are hurting, it is going to impact the rest of your lifts. So if you switch to legs, it's kind of a smart move because you keep your whole body just in that protein synthesis kind of zone, and then your arms will recover, and then your legs will be obviously sore, but then you can go to back straight after that and shoulders. So it's like it's good to like switch it up like that. Yeah, whatever Andrew's doing. I mean, Andrew, when I've spoken to him, he seems like he's a knowledgeable guy when it comes to the gym stuff. So, you know.
Yeah, but he's thin as a rail.
This is the thing. I always say, never judge a book by its cover, because when people, like I have a friend, and when he saw me come to the gym like a year ago, I was really like, I was big, like fat big. But I said to him, I tell you what, I can make you put on a bunch of muscle in like 3 months. And he was like, pfft. And then it happened. He's like, you're like the gym messiah, because you don't look like you know how to do gym stuff at all, but you got me jacked. I was like, so you never know. Some people don't look like they've got it, but they know.
I definitely think I have done like I've been spending almost the past year doing exercises with too light of weights, with too many reps, and for too long.
It's definitely possible.
Yeah, and Andrew needs calories.
Oh yeah.
So how you doing?
I've been giving him weight gain here.
I'm going to say the Rich Piana thing, which is stick to real food. Real food is always better than any sort of product or powder. So that's just my thing. It's more it's because it's got the full amino acid profile, all
Nope.
64. So you know,
That's true, but he can't do it. Like he
21, not
physically
64.
can't eat enough.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Rich Piana also says, how many meals are you eating? Oh, you're eating 4 meals a day? Eat more. You know, you're eating 5 meals a day? Eat 6. You know, so it's that kind of mentality.
I have to wonder if he shouldn't just be eating like more just steak.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yeah, if you're eating just steak and stuff, the thing about steak is it's not as high calorie as people think it is because it's protein. It's dense, but it's like what, maybe 300 calories for a maybe a 2-inch steak. It's when you cook it in the butter and stuff that's what brings up the calories. So I always say to people, like, if you want to bump up the calories, get the fat bumped up. So cook things in like real butter or like real lard, because that's where the calories come from.
Yeah.
And then obviously the carbs on the side. I mean, I'm an expert on eating. I can tell you what to eat.
Me too. So you jumped on. Did you have something to say about Fountain of Comfort?
What's the concept?
Fountain of Comfort is our new 501c3 charity where we're asking people for money. And it's so it's for public health, public mental health. It's supposed to be a resource. So I don't think I actually went through the 3 things we were talking about. So the 3 things we were talking about was 1, professional development, which is actually getting mental health professionals to be better than they are, and to help the public understand what a good professional does and how they work. Like, if you're ending up going to therapy once a week, every week for 5 years at $150 a session, which plenty of people are, there's something wrong there. Like, there's something seriously wrong there. You should not, unless you're like in a really bad state. And this is one of the things, like, a lot of mental health professionals have been telling me is they become like professional friends to people who just, they don't have friends. It's not like they need therapy. Like, they don't need actual, therapy that's really restructuring their psychology, which therapy can do and should do. And you shouldn't have, your friends shouldn't be doing that. It should be a professional, or what the peer model also works. And actually, that's the second thing. On the website, I called it peer counseling. In the PayPal page, I'm not putting this up. Ta-da! On the website, I called it peer counseling. On the donate page, I called it individual counseling. And individual counseling is ultimately, if we're doing this correctly in my model, in my idea, right? You should have various levels. And there's mental health that the public can help other people stay healthy. Just like going to the gym, you can help me be physically healthy, right? Friends help friends be physically healthy. Friends help friends be mentally healthy. And when you need a doctor, right, it's no longer nutrition advice from a friend. It's no longer physical advice from a friend. It's something where you need surgery. That's when you need professionals. So Emma asks a great question. How should therapists deal with people who don't do their homework? There's a difference. Okay. If somebody's not doing their homework, and yes, if you're going to weekly therapy, the reason for the weekly therapy is you're supposed to be doing homework on in between. And that's why now there's what's called intensive outpatient. And why there does need to actually be real inpatient therapy is if a person really cannot do their homework, then they need to be intensive outpatient, or they need to be inpatient. And that's very, very expensive. And it shouldn't be for the average person. But there are people who need intensive outpatient. The model has to change. Honestly, like, there's the science and of mental health is not where it could be. It's definitely a lot further ahead than where it was even 50 years ago, in many ways. Although I have to say, the politicization of the American Psychological Association has been disastrous. But we know we have enough science that we can do things better than we're doing them. And that's, as opposed to criticizing, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help make things happen in real life. And look, might I fail? Yes. Might I end up losing all the money I've sunk in and time I've sunk into this? It's possible. I hope not. Do I believe that this is something good for the world? Yes, I do. And I think that if you're really, really showing up, if you're really paying attention, Chad, I'm just glad you stick around, despite me being the jerk I am. And I have to say, Chad, like, I really value your friendship because you're willing to call me a jerk sometimes, and you do snap, and then you do come back, and I want that pushback. That's what changes this from being a cult. Like, I've been accused of being a cult leader as well. And Bazani is right, people. There's 15 of you watching. You better be pressing like. I'm gonna check to see if there's a like button. What's going? 5 likes. 5 likes. Come on, people. Press like already.
Yeah, I actually agree with a lot of what you just said. I think that, like, I've had. So I think. I don't want to sound like I'm being special here, but I think my generation of men is like the first generation of men that just like had that complete atomization of society where it's just completely messed up. Like, we existed in the time in between like the whole social media thing. So we were sort of being molded into this whole like, oh, everybody's on their phone, all that kind of stuff. But we sort of saw what it was like before that as well. So we were the first generation to sort of be broken up by and literally atomized. And I've had friends who've gone to therapy and they've said it's like they don't really help. They don't, because they just don't get it.
So Garth pointed this out, and it was amazing to me. He's so right. He said the people who are most motivated to change things seem to be the people who've had real community and seen how important and valuable it is, and now see that it's not. So like the boomers don't understand how much community has been destroyed. And the Gen Zers, right? The Zoomers, they don't understand. They're like, yeah, this is just how the world is. The world is just this shitty. And you're right. I think it's the people who've viewed things as they were and see it completely disintegrating who are the ones who are most motivated to try to go back to I mean, I keep on saying the nuclear family is a nuclear disaster.
I 100% agree, because like I'm going to be biased here because I come from an Indian background, right? So for us, everything is like extended families, right?
Same
But I
thing
think it's so
with me.
true.
I'm an immigrant to the United States, so yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have aunties and uncles living in the same house. Sometimes it's like 3 families in the same house. And you just buy a bigger house. And everybody's rich because they're all sharing. So it's like, you know.
This is my biggest thing about people saying I can't afford to get married. It's like you can't afford not to get married. You might not be able to afford to have children, but if you're living 2 people together, it is so much cheaper. It is so much cheaper to live in groups and it's so much easier to live if you don't have to make each of your meals. I remember when I came to the United States, I was at my cousin's house and he went to grab a microwave meal for himself. And first of all, I had never seen a microwave meal before. Second, I asked, okay, so when's the family getting together for dinner? And he said, oh no, each person just grabs whatever they're going to eat. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, that's how they do it in America. And I didn't believe him. Like I thought, oh, they must get together for dinner. Like everybody gets together and has dinner together because like your mom makes dinner for the entire family, right?
Yeah, I think that phenomena is like really apparent. I went to just a gastropub near where I live, and there was a family of possibly like 6, and it was like 4 kids. Every single one of them had a separate iPad, and it was just crazy to look at. I was like, this is like hell. This is hell. Like all of them are eating, looking at their iPad, like just completely zoned in. And the parents are just in the corner, just like, we get 10 minutes of silence. We love this. I'm like, what? This is weird.
Yeah. Honestly, look, part of the problem, though, that problem is the fact that we expect parents to kids are constantly supervised, and kids need to learn to play together and not be under the like Jonathan Haidt talks about this constantly. And how much of the housing crisis is people living alone? Well, okay, let's separate the housing crisis from the homelessness crisis, because there's a difference between being homeless and having difficulty housing. So what the official term is at-risk homeless. At-risk homeless are people who can't afford their own place. And that includes people, for example, who live in their cars and have a gym membership and a post office box and a full-time job. Like that's a thing in Los Angeles. There are people who live in their cars, have a public storage space, have a gym membership, and have full-time jobs and a post office box. And that's how they live because they can't afford rent, because rent is just that crazy.
So why are they doing that? Is it just because they want to live in LA, or is it because how
Their
much
jobs
of it is
are in LA, their life is in LA, their family is in LA.
Oh, okay. So, because the way my brain is perceiving this is like, okay, there's people who are from small cities who want to live in a big city, and they're like, I'll do anything to live in a big city, including living in my car. That's how I'm perceiving it.
That is also very true. Yeah, that's
I-
pretty true as well.
That does happen in Los Angeles, especially with people who come here because they want to work in Hollywood.
Well, they just want to party.
Or look, rent is saving on rent. That's a lot of money. And people have this idea, and some of the what are called at-risk homeless, they will couch surf on people's with their friends. But frankly, what we need is group homes where like people can actually learn to live with each other.
Ish. I mean, is this going to lead to like pod living, like co-shared spaces and stuff like that? Because that to me is a bit like, because that's what I would imagine would happen. Because the landlord's going to be like, okay, well, subletting's pretty good, but what about if I sublet one room? Let me like split half the room so that
There are
this
people who are
person-
doing that. There are
That
people
to
who
me
are doing
seems
that.
like really apocalyptic. You know?
Look, what you ultimately need is a shared philosophy, though.
True, I agree.
Right? You can have something like that. First of all, I work with the senior population as well, and like we've especially with the people who don't have kids, who are getting to be in their 60s. We do need to start having we need to make old age homes work. And right now they only work for the incredibly wealthy. They're hellholes for the people who aren't healthy. Yeah, I mean, housing crisis. Look, the fact that we end up talking about the mental health crisis, and there is a mental health crisis, is because that's where we're seeing the actual deaths of despair. And once you're talking about dead people, it's like, hello, there's something wrong here, right? Because you can rationalize. It's funny. I'm reading Crime and Punishment again, and he's talking like this is Dostoevsky 150 years ago, 160 years ago. He's talking about the Russian communes, right? And this idea of people living together and like in these secular communes. And it's like, wow, this problem is a lot older than we really realize. Because volitional families are a real thing. And they're not a bad thing. I think that's part of what religion allows you is volitional families.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, it makes me think of monasteries and stuff like that. I mean, that becomes your family, doesn't it? I honestly think a lot of the housing crisis stuff is to do with the fact that there's a lack of places for people who have not so normative approaches to life to go. Like, I don't. So, like, people who are, let's say, highly intelligent, which correlates with autism, you know, they have a different way of approaching life. They can't necessarily be as pro-social as other people. So, like, a monastery or something like that is brilliant for those type of people. I think we need more spaces where, like, introverted, highly intelligent people can go and be introverted and highly intelligent. You know?
I can see that. The vows of celibacy, like, I would like to experiment, but ultimately, I mean, we're definitely getting off track. But Fountain of Comfort, like, yeah, like a university.
No, not at all. Because the universities are literally just, I want to party for 3 years and just have as many girlfriends as I can and take as many drugs. That's what university is. Like a monastery is not that.
Not for well, it's actually funny.
Well, at
like,
least I hope it's not that.
Yeah. Well, Jonathan, what do you have to say?
I mean, the Jesuits have a lot of money, but that's what happens when you get a bunch of gay men living together.
I you know what? I'm gonna agree with you. I think most of them are gay. Yeah. But actually, you know what? I'm gonna add a caveat to that. If there's a gay person who has strong religious beliefs and there's nowhere else for them to go because they say, I actually can't have a relationship with a man. So what do I do? Like Father Seraphim Rose, he was a gay guy and he went into a monastery and, now he's one of the most beloved kind of characters, So I don't want to say a lot of Catholics are kind of gay, but like, there's got to be a place. If you're going to have these extremely high morals, then you need to have a place to go where you can sort of control it, I think. So
Hey,
I like the joke, but
everyone's a little bit gay, including you.
I don't know. I think there are some people
and
who
you
are
can-
100% straight.
Yeah.
Straight and narrow.
Super straight.
Yeah, super straight. And I think we just don't hear anything from them because they're just too busy dealing with their nagging wives or something. I don't know.
100%.
Yeah.
Where'd Teo go?
Just
Teo was
bounced.
going through. You're from Essex or Sussex? I think he was going through there on the train.
I'm Cambridgeshire, so
You're in Cambridge.
Essex is close though.
Okay.
Essex is close.
It's all pretty close.
Yeah, it's all
It's a
pretty
tiny
close.
island.
Compared to America, it's all pretty close, isn't it?
Question is, in terms of like housing, I know we're a little far afield of the fountain of comfort thing, but I jumped on to ask, how are we all going to fit in Israel? Because I don't think the Gaza Strip
Come on.
is gonna help with that much, or even the West Bank for that matter.
Oh, I find that stuff really funny. The Philistines were Greek; they weren't Arabs.
Yeah, I mean, well, I have to say, so the three, I have to say, on Sukkot, the Festival of Tabernacles, supposedly all people are going to be able to come if they want to Jerusalem. And I'm guessing, yeah, like when Mashiach comes, like billions of people are going to be coming to Jerusalem. How we're going to deal with that, I have no clue. It was so funny. My dad was listening to this song I had never heard before on YouTube, and he's like, "What are they saying?" And I listened to it, and the one word, the title of the song is Jerusalem. The one word I understood. So like, I'm like, but I didn't know which language it's in. It's in Zulu.
Mm.
And the words translates to "Take me home, I don't belong here. Jerusalem is my home." It's a catchy song too. Like, and you can go and check it out on YouTube. But like in Zulu, okay.
Sounds pretty awesome. Sounds pretty
Well,
based.
The PSA is, if you ever find yourself in the Sukkot in Israel, don't kick it.
Don't kick the sukkah.
Just
Yes.
whatever you do, don't kick the sukkah.
That's kind of an inside joke right there.
That's really funny because, like, the fact that I'm learning Russian, that doesn't mean the same thing. Does anybody get what I'm saying there? No, okay, don't worry about it.
Well, I mean, you are Orthodox and you're turning into thing. Yeah, so the lyrics are here's the Jerusalem, my home, save me, join me, don't leave me here. My place is not here, my kingdom is not here. Save me, come with me. Save, save, save me. Do not leave me here. Save me, save me, save me. Do not leave me here. My place is not here. My kingdom is not here. Save me, come with. Save, save, save me. Do not leave me here. Save me, save me, save me. do not leave me here. So those are the actual words to Jerusalem, and it's a catchy song. I highly recommend people.
I love it when people use such a wide vocabulary in their songs. I love that.
Well, it's Zulu. How much vocabulary can you have in Zulu? I don't think Zulu has that many words, does it?
I don't know. I'm gonna say nothing because if I talk, I'm gonna be in trouble.
Okay, I'm gonna check to see how many people actually contributed, because if people did not contribute, I'm gonna be very, very upset. If you're watching this and you can't spare the $5 a month, big spender. Yep, one person, big spender, won't I will not embarrass him, but yeah, the rest of you need to pony up, people.
Trey, you got to fix that donate button.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, on the page.
Yeah, like it's kind of wonky with switching to the clickable.
You know what? Can it just go straight to the PayPal thing that's set up?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should just make it do that.
Well, I don't know how to embed links. I need to look that up on Wix. It should be easy.
Okay, I've got a mental health issue.
Yes,
I don't
you
have
do.
one, but I want to have a mental health issue topic that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I know I walked right into that one. So the whole incel thing.
Uh-huh.
What's your guys' take on that?
I think it's incredibly base. You know,
I think it's yeah, I don't know how to make this happen. I think okay, maybe later. I thought it would be easy to make the,
Because I think
fix
that
it.
is the mental health issue of this generation.
Okay.
That's going to be the big one.
I blame it like I blame everything on Ball of Tarsus.
okay,
Great.
let's just skip that over. Right, skip it because it's not gonna go anywhere good, and go back to a normal conversation. Just try to fight.
Okay, well,
I
just
would
men,
say
then.
There is a Christian acceptance of people not getting married, which is
no.
unbiblical.
Hey, wait, Jacob. When was polyamory outlawed in Judaism? Just a quick question.
1,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. When did the Christians do it?
2,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. Anyways, we both got sexual problems. Moving on back to the
no, we actually don't.
Well, you could kind of think of it as two opposites, right? It's one's give me all the wives, and the other one's and no wives for me, please.
One man, one wife has always been the biblical standard.
True and factual.
No, it's because of Judaism that made it so Islam had multiple wives. Okay, you guys.
No, you're just plain wrong,
That's all
Trey.
true. I agree with that.
You're just plain wrong, Trey. The biblical standard has always been one man, one wife. There is not a single example of marriage in the Bible where one man is married to more than one woman that is not explicitly a disaster.
What about concubines?
I am not aware of any multiple marriages in the Bible that is not explicitly an example of a disaster.
It is a disaster every time. True.
Every single time. It is
Why does God say,
telling
I would give you
it
more
is a
wives
bad
if you
idea.
wanted them to
What?
Solomon? Why does God say to Solomon, if you wanted more wives, I would give them to you? Or is it David or Solomon? I can't remember. He says to one of them.
Knock is for girls. I don't.
No. But that's where all the stuff is happening, though. Maybe that's why.
Well, okay, yeah, you have to recognize that we don't view Nach as the same level of revelation. we explicitly view it as an inferior revelation to the Torah.
No, I get that because we have obviously rankings of books as well. So
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting thought though. Like the fact that God said, "I would actually give you more women if you wanted them."
Well, I mean, if you look up the verse, I can actually.
Let me get that up.
This sounds like we're moving into one of my Bible studies, and if you listen to my Bible studies, I expect you to be donating to Fountain of Comfort.
Okay. Right. I think the incel thing, that's going to be a big mental health thing. I think also like the prevalence of autism is going up and up and up because like people are getting married later, and also I actually think that like more and more intelligent people are getting married to each other. Like that, like the intelligent people are just breeding with the intelligent, and I think it's giving them like really, really intelligent babies, and they're getting more autistic too. I think that's another thing.
Huh.
Tell me, like, I've heard of incels. I know what it means and stands for, but like, how would you describe it for the studio audience here?
Okay, let me give you a little education here. No, really, seriously, it means involuntarily celibate.
Uh-huh.
But I think it originally started off as just people who couldn't get a girlfriend and they just wanted to get laid. But I think it evolved into more of like a state of mind, as like it doesn't necessarily matter if they're attractive or not, or if they have money or not. It's like it's an internal thing. Like they feel like they can't get anything, and then they start becoming almost like a body dysmorphia thing, where they look at their face and they just see pure ugliness because they're looking at like they get really in depth into like what are the perfect face proportions, what are like the perfect body proportions and stuff like that, looking at the ideals, and then they start comparing themselves constantly to that. It's kind of the same thing when girls go, there's such high beauty standards. It's men doing that to themselves, basically. But you know how like a girl goes, well, that girl's pretty, but a guy goes, okay, no, it needs to be 1/3 of the face needs to be this big, 2/3 of this face. Like they get really in depth. So these guys have essentially spiraled themselves into this, like, I can't get a girlfriend no matter how hard I try because I'm ugly, even if they're not. And they've essentially bonded over the fact that they're all like ugly and they can't get a girlfriend, even though they're not. And it's not true. And what's ended up happening is that is transmuted into some sort of collective anger against women. And I'm going to say that a lot of their critiques of modern women is not wrong, but it's getting to the, obviously there's like crimes associated with this. It's very much like the Fight Club thing, where it starts off as like a, hey, let's just get together and do some stuff, and then it becomes like a whole terrorist group, right? Now, I don't want to paint incels as terrorists. I think they're just men who are struggling with the changing times and like the atomization of the individual. But yeah, it's becoming this whole group of men who are like very bitter and resentful. Nobody likes them. Nobody wants to help them. Constantly demonized by the media. So they're just getting more and more angry over time, and that's a powder keg ready to go off.
What's the age range of these quote unquote men? Because my sense is that like it's a stunted.
Like a failure to launch kind of thing.
Yeah, arrested development, we used to call it back in our day.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's anything from 15 to 35, which sounds like a big range, but it's like a whole generation who sort of grew up with 4chan, all that stuff, and like actually I think they all have the same comedic tastes, all have the same kind of humor and same kind of interests. But yeah, anything between 15 and 35, heavily online, like really online. I think that's a big part of it as well. I think also maybe having helicopter parents might be a thing that contributes to that.
Kids need to do more drugs. That's what I'm saying.
Well, not need to do more drugs, but I do think they need to be left alone more, as in like to go out and like communicate with people. I think what you find with a lot of these guys is they say that my parents stopped me from going to see people when I was young, and then they're sort of like trying to claw back that like lost youth for the rest of their life. They're thinking like, oh, I've basically lost all that time, and I'm never going to get it back. I've basically ruined everything. I think there's a lot of that sentiment in there. And then there's just like an all-out sentiment of like, it's not fair because men used to get married and I can't get married. I think that's the big one.
But they give up. Like they don't even try. They're not even really trying.
Some of them, well, yeah. I think what they do is they end up like looking at too many statistics. And, you know, a lot of these statistics aren't necessarily wrong, but they're not factoring in, because these guys are kind of autistic. They're not factoring in that human nature is like kind of weird. It doesn't go by statistics. They're also looking at like divorce rates and like alimony and things like a lot of this is American based. So this doesn't really even apply to like the UK or other countries, but that mentality is still spreading even to Europe for some reason. And you find guys in England going, yeah, well, she's going to take half my money. I'm like, do we even have that law? Like, I don't even know if we have that law, but it's still that sentiment's coming over. But yeah, I think a lot of these guys are looking at the bad things that are happening to older generations and just going, I don't want any part of that. So there's a lot of, and also I think like, I think a lot of it's to do with like dating apps, really. I think it's just dating apps have done this personally, like Tinder and stuff like that. I was there when that first came out in like 2014. And before that point, dating was probably just you go up to somebody, say hi, and then you go on a date, and then that was it. Now it's like you have to work out in the gym for a certain amount of time. You have to have a certain look, certain clothes, certain pictures. And people are actually chasing experiences just to get the pictures for their Tinder, not to actually have those experiences anymore. Like, Trey, can you back up anything of what I'm saying here? Because you're the insider.
You can relate, right, Trey?
Andre, do you have a girlfriend?
I have a few. No, I'm joking. No, I have, and recently, and I had to go to confession for that exact reason. So, yeah, I'm not struggling in that department, but the point is that, like, I have a way of reconciling the fact that I'm not with anybody, which is I want to wait for marriage. How does a secular guy do that? They don't have that kind of thing. They only have will to power. I want to have as many women as I can because that's powerful.
I don't know who would ever say that. I don't know who would ever agree with that. That guy must be crazy. Will to power, that sounds like some Nazi stuff.
That sounds crazy to me too.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot. I mean, yeah, it's like crazy. Anyways, I mean, I live in LA, so that's probably where you're gonna see most girls posing for the camera and everything like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these like John Zerka types as well, and Andrew Tate's and all that stuff is going on. I think that's really contributing to is people seeing like powerful guys just sort of. Well, when I say powerful guys, I mean like they're seeing. This is the thing about women is like actually being rude to them does work in a sense. Like treat them mean, keep them keen is the truth. It does work, but like.
Well, not the girls you want to like be long term, but yeah.
Yeah. Like if you want to marry someone, that's not going to work. Marriage is like obviously, Father Josiah Trentham says that marriage is consecrated friendship, but.
That
weird. Is so bad.
That's terrible. Don't ever listen.
I had a feeling you were going to say something about that. Just can you not say something like that for just a second? Just a second.
Okay.
I know we don't need to go into the theology of that right now. Okay. The point is that the way that you game a girl when you're not married, that you're not looking to marry is so different from the way that you game a girl that you want to actually marry. When I say game, I mean just courtship. Courtship is different depending on what the end goal is.
I don't think that's true. I think the game's the same. It's just the rules you follow.
I don't know about that. I think there's certain things where it's like if you're just going to have a bit of fun, I think it's different from if you're going to try and marry someone.
The dynamics are the same.
I think the initial dynamics are, because you have to stoke that initial thing. But I think it's different after that, because the end goal is like so different. And I think, wait, what were we even talking about? What was the point of this again? Yeah, basically, men are just going crazy because they can't get any stuff. That's what I gotta say.
Talk, Billy Ray.
I think the whole dynamic is stupid. All right, modern dating, modern marriage is about what I can get, about solving my passions and so on and so forth. It doesn't work, right? You know, at least in America, we're sexualized to death, right? It's because everybody is sacrificing next week, next year, or 18 years of their life if they get this girl pregnant for a good time tonight, because we've all been told that following our passions and what makes us happy is the key to success. And that is absolutely not the case at all. Building relationships that last, building people that you can rely on in the hard times, good times, so on and so forth, is the most important thing. Getting married to have sex is a stupid idea. Telling people to wait to have sex until you get married because your life is going to be better is also stupid. Reserving yourself for your proper mate is the thing to do, because you need someone in your life who is going to walk arm in arm with you, who's going to support you as much as you support them until, I mean, look, I've been married 3 times. The first 2 lasted a year because it was that over passion. The last one, I've been married for 13 years, never had a fight, never had to sleep on a couch. My wife has never went to her mama's house because she is pissed off at me, right? Because everything we do is 100%. When we got married, it has nothing to do with, well, here's my life and here's your life. No, our life is one. Our passions, our goals, everything is about the household. It's about the family unit. It's about each other. When I got married, Billy Ray died. When my wife got married, Rachel Ray died. Now it's us as a unit. And we're going in our life as we don't have to build those type of relationships. We're just worried about what we can get, not what we can do for other people. I'm sorry, y'all are touching on a touchy subject for me. I apologize.
That's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you're married to Rachel Ray. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Billy Ray and Rachel Ray. That is kind of hilarious.
I do think the idea of like people have almost forgotten how to build relationships. I think that is a big part of like the problem, the mental health problem, is that we just don't remember, like, well, at least my generation doesn't remember how to just be friends with people and to build like groups and networks and stuff like that.
Well, I think we treat people as things, right? Our people as experiences, right? I have a question. Like on Facebook and all, when you see people there, they've went to Cancun or something like that, right? Did they go to Cancun because they wanted to see Cancun, or to the Grand Canyon because they wanted to see the mountains, or because they're chasing the experience to share with their people, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying earlier about like trying to get a picture just to put on your social media or Tinder or something, not actually doing it because you want to do it, you know?
How much of what we do is status driven versus interpersonal? And well, the other thing is I don't think that anything should be driven interpersonal after you're married. After you grow up and you bring on more responsibilities onto yourself, then the interpersonal isn't there anymore, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's if you choose not to get married, then you're going to have lifelong partners of whatever sex they are, maybe not sexual, that you're going to share your life with, right? That community is not a million people, it's two. It starts with two and it works out. We all need community, way less than we need cars, houses, and things like that. I see so many people, and including which I see this more. So maybe it's not as prevalent in the world as it is in my world because of what I deal with on a regular basis. But I see so many people treat themselves as pieces of meat, as in they're only good for what they can physically do, provide, or give, and they don't see past that. And it's like they sacrifice their entire future for the piece of meat that they are right now. I'm done. I don't really know what else to say.
Okay, I fixed the what you call it, the donate button on the webpage. That was the important thing, right?
Wait,
Okay.
Andre, I want to understand the story. How did you send two girls to confession? That's kind of a baller move.
No, I didn't send anybody to confession. I sent myself to confession.
Okay,
No,
I
no,
have to
there's
go.
nothing to do with that. Don't worry about that.
Jonathan can keep this going as long as he likes, or whatever, and then I will talk to you guys later. But Billy, I actually would like you to talk about Fountain of Comfort. So, talk to you later.
Yeah, is this finished now, or is it still live? Oh.
No, we're still live.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't send anybody to confession.
You're just humble.
Myself.
You're humble bragging. I'm just playing. No, I'm just
I
kidding.
thought you were baptized. I thought you were a good boy.
I am. I actually didn't do anything. The reason I went to confession is because I had a little wobble, but nothing happened. So, but the point is, right? That was not the point. That was not the point I was trying to
Okay,
make.
yeah, I'm not impressed. I don't know. I just didn't know you could feel like that. You know?
The point I was trying to make is that, like, yeah, everybody's just kind of got that, like, fast food kind of thing going on, like where everything's just like social media stuff, and it's like nobody knows how to build anything that lasts anymore. So I think we've just forgotten how to do that because everything's so plastic now. Even like the things you buy don't last. Everything's got planned obsolescence, and it feels like even relationships have like planned obsolescence built into them now. It's like, oh, I'm going to be a friend for like a couple of months, and then when I'm like bored with you, I'll go and I don't know. It's gonna fizzle out or something. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna have a take. I think women really want to build something. That's something I've been noticing more and more and more. Is that they want to build something.
I think there are women who want to build stuff.
Like, yeah, I mean, I would say like I think it's like the majority of women want to build stuff long term.
I don't know. I mean, like, it depends what age range you're talking in, because you have to remember, like, biological clocks really play into this as well. Like, the time you should be having children is probably like 21 to 27, like, or 30. Like, that's really basically throughout your 20s. That's like the time you should probably be having children. And then 30s onwards, you should probably be looking after them. That's just my opinion, but I think that's probably like the best time, scientifically speaking. And what are we doing during those times? We're like not doing anything. And I think that's what's contributing to like a lot of the mental health stuff, is that it's just like nobody's getting married young. And like nobody's like, just because you get married young, it doesn't mean you don't have to go to university or whatever like that. I think that's just the issue. You know what I mean? People think that if you get married that you have to miss out on stuff. Or that you're going to...
You do.
Well, I mean, the stuff that you're going to miss out on is probably not beneficial to you anyway. Like, who needs to be, like, drinking and taking drugs, like, anyway?
You can still do that when you're married, I promise.
Well, there is that too. In fact, you've even got a partner if you want to do that. So it probably enhances the experience. But the point is, that's not very Christian of me. I apologize. The point is that like you probably don't need to do that stuff anyway. Like, and you're talking about shrooms and stuff. Like, that's crazy to me. I feel like that's so normalized in like guys who are younger than 25.
Hypothetically.
Trey, you're not
That's-
even in Puerto Rico. You're just driving around LA.
Is it? Wait, are you in?
No.
Are you actually in Puerto Rico right now?
You don't believe me? Yeah, I am.
Well, that just looks like clouds and trees, man. Don't crash.
Well, you wouldn't know the difference because you live in the middle of nowhere. So, you know.
Fair enough. Everything looks like LA to you, to me.
What?
Did it stop raining
Yeah,
yet?
Yeah, it did stop raining. Yeah.
So go surf.
How you doing, Jonathan? Your
I'm-
official Noah Hyde.
I'm doing fantastic. Yeah. Official. No, I don't have a certificate.
How's it feel? Yeah.
Feels great. You should try it.
Wait, are Noah Heights like supposed to get certificates at some point? I don't actually know about
No. They don't need to get certificates.
And I'm an unofficial Noah Hyde, so it's kind of fun, you know?
Certified Noah Hyde. Sounds like a mixtape. Dropping this summer. Next summer, actually.
But Noah Hyde.
Certified Noah Hyde. JJ.
Do you like that? You like that track that I dropped in the Discord?
The metal one, yeah, that was sick. What was that like? Was that you in a band or was it just you? Or...
Yeah, that was just me playing around with a recording of another band. I'll send you the link to it.
Oh, do you like have a studio or something at home? Or...
Oh, I mean, just a home studio. Yeah, it's not very sophisticated. It's mostly my computer.
Sweet. Yeah, it sounded like a beat down hardcore kind of thing. It's like a down tempo kind of thing going on there. Yeah, I like that stuff too. Recently been getting back into sort of the crust punk kind of stuff and like the black metal kind of stuff, which is again not very good, but they got some great riffs. I'm not gonna lie, some great riffs.
Mm-hmm.
You listen to Death Grips?
I do actually. I mean, they've got a couple great songs. And they've got some very weird album covers. I'll say that.
Illegal album covers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like right now, Celtic Frost is on the list. Discharge. Like one of the guys from my town is like a very influential guitarist from like the 80s who sort of helped invent thrash metal, and like met with like Metallica and stuff like that back in the day when it was like the 80s. So where I'm from specifically has a really big history of like just punk music in general. It's kind of dying out now because we have a huge part of the population that is just like basically foreign and they just don't get it. But there used to be a massive punk scene here and like deathcore scene and metalcore scene back in like the early 2010s when everybody had like that emo hair flipping. Oh man, it was good. Good times.
I got a video to send to you. Did you ever the Orthodox video titled "Death to Christ" or "Death"? Something like that.
I don't think I ever heard that before.
Death
to the world, you mean?
Oh, Death to the World. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they would say death to Christ. No, that sounds more like a Noah Hyde thing. No, I'm joking. Yeah, Death to the World is great. I love that. In fact, they have some stickers and stuff, and I think I might just put a couple around. You know, they're focused on the Memento Mori thing because, let's face it, all metal, all of it comes from Catholicism. the Catholic, the Gothic tradition, that's where metal comes from. And it's like, if even black metal, which is supposed to be like satanic and stuff, it's literally just Christianity in reverse.
Yeah, it's
'Cause
just
it's
it's kind of
spiritual.
it's a LARP, right?
It's a huge love. And the thing is, I think listening to black metal made me more Catholic, like made me into a Christian. I know that sounds weird, but if I had never listened to Black Sabbath as a kid, I would never be an Orthodox Christian. Because it was the one thing that made me an outcast from everybody else I knew.
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Rings for Christianity, right? Like it introduces you to that world.
Yeah, exactly. And I liked Lord of the Rings and you know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, all that kind of stuff growing up. So I think I just had those influences already. And those things are like overtly pro-Christian, like Lord of the Rings and, you know, the Chronicles of Narnia. All that stuff is so Christian. So yeah, there was kind of like no way. Also, growing up in a white neighborhood definitely helps. I think not being around like Sikhs growing up.
Not that into metal, are they?
Yeah. Well, nowadays they're kind of
Nowadays, sure, but that's cultural assimilation, right? Or
yeah, exactly. Yeah, these days they're pretty, but even then it's still seen as like a weird thing. It's like you got to be into Afro beats or like grime or drill or something if you're brown. If the tone of your skin is below a certain tone, you have to listen to sort of black music, basically, to put it that way.
I mean, there's a PhD paper in there somewhere about race and subgenres of metal for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what that paper is, but
yeah, I think the more, well, I mean, it's Nordic stuff, isn't it? A lot of it, like liking metal doesn't really hit any sort of, it doesn't resonate with anybody who's not Nordic, basically, or like European in some way. But I don't know, kind of, I kind of vibe with it. Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, Trey. I thought you had those special permissions that you could you come in and you're in. I didn't realize that.
What do you think of metal, Trey? What do you think about it?
I love metal. I like. I don't know. I think the main guy from Megadeth.
You're that very lo-fi.
This is terrible. Yeah. What do you think of noise metal, Trey?
Yeah, I think he's got that black metal thing going on with his microphone.
Yeah, I'm gonna sample that and turn that into a whole album of fix your stuff, Trey.
No, it's perfect for lo-fi, man. Perfect. Some lo-fi beats, you know. I could study to that all day. Study all day to some lo-fi Trey.
It's always lo-fi with Trey. He's always just driving around in his car, like you're at the mercy of the satellites. No, it's not better.
What?
What is?
Yeah, no good.
Is this like Puerto Rican Wi-Fi? What's going on?
We're losing viewers by the second here, Trey. I'm gonna mute you.
What's going on here?
Ugh, it's like bad music.
Yeah.
Very punk.
Yeah, actually, there is a song right now that is literally the main synth is like, you know, when your phone has those kind of like clicks against a speaker and it kind of does that kind of
thing. Oh yeah, I know. Well,
there's a song that's literally that.
It's perfect. Perfect.
I can't remember what it's called. It's doing well in England though. Do you guys like house music?
No, you've lost me there.
Really?
Like, what's an example?
It's even worse now. Why is it so bad?
I'm gonna kick you from the stream, Trey, if you keep this up. Yeah, like what's like Daft Punk, like early Daft Punk? What's?
Nah. So my era of house is like 2013 to 2016.
Okay.
UK house. I guess when people think of house, I guess they think of like, yeah, Daft Punk and stuff like that. Nowadays, though, it's more like Fisher or like, I don't know, who else would be like a big guy right now? MK? Yeah, I mean, MK's an American. Surely you guys know MK. Second City, Blonde. No,
I don't know.
no, not really with the house stuff.
I mean, I listened to. I listened to Burial. When that
Burial is very OG, like UK
yeah,
stuff.
that's a little older now. Yeah, but I'm not hip to the new stuff. All right, here we go, Trey. Let's try you again.
Burial's definitely a big influence. That's much better.
Hey, the sun's out.
Is it working?
Sun's out, guns out. Yeah.
Woo! So, Andre, how did you become Orthodox? I'm curious about that.
Oh man, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I don't even know, because it's so weird. Like when I think about it, it's like it doesn't even make sense. But I love that. I love the fact that it doesn't make sense. Started off as like in a evangelical Pentecostal church growing up. But half, like the rest of my family is not Christian at all. Like they're all either Sikhs or like there's a Hindu that's around there somewhere, and there's like probably a Muslim around there somewhere too. But majority Sikh. And then grow up. I honestly think listening to like heavy metal and stuff like that made me Christian. I know it sounds so weird, but I really think because this is like white culture, and I think that kind of like made me Christian, like an Orthodox Christian, because it's very focused on like, you know, like fantasy and ancient lore and all that kind of stuff. And just my friendship group and everybody like that, we were all into like Lord of the Rings and all into that kind of stuff. And we're all just nerds, basically, giant nerds who went to the gym. And I think that kind of did it. Also going to the gym, I know that sounds weird as well, but that definitely helped. I think getting healthy, I seriously believe that, like getting healthy and getting your mind in the right place, I actually think that made me more religious. I don't know if this sounds stupid. Maybe it sounds stupid. I don't really care. I think the way that I originally got into it was I was at work, and I started getting interested in languages again. And I just asked myself the question, like, why don't I just look into the languages that the Bible was written in? Started looking into Greek, and then I found out about like Aramaic, and I was like, oh, I heard that before, but like from Passion of the Christ. But I was like, I don't actually know like what Aramaic is and like how it relates to Arabic and stuff like that. Started looking into that, and then I stumbled across the Assyrian Church of the East. And then I started listening to that, and I was like, whoa, this sounds like basically the Quran, the way they're chanting it. And I'm like, wait, so there's Christians who did this before Islam? And I was like, whoa, so like there's like a whole section of religion that I've never even heard of before, and it's literally Christian. And then once I found out about that, I was like, oh, these churches are like kind of Orthodox. And I just started looking into all the other different Orthodox stuff, worked my way from the Assyrian Church of the East west to Byzantium, and then from there it was kind of a wrap. If that even makes sense. I don't know.
It does. Lord works in mysterious ways, as they say.
Yeah. I to this day I still say that Black Sabbath saved me.
You know, it's funny. What is it? What's that Black Sabbath song where it goes and like the devil's wings rise?
Black Sabbath.
Whoopee?
Oh yeah. What's that lyric go? Isn't it song like, and he came off the
like
watch.
Oh, laughing Satan spreads his wings.
Yeah.
Laughing Satan spreads his wings.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, that's a classic, man.
Yeah. So I was with church people, and they would always say like, like he's following what the Bible is saying. Like you don't get it. Like he's predicting Armageddon.
Yeah. It's all of it is like overtly pro-Christian. I mean, the guys, they were actually involved in the occult for a little bit, and then they got scared because they encountered a demon. Like that's what Bloody Sabbath is about. And then they essentially put on crosses and said, we're gonna be Christian-ish for the rest of our life, because we're scared of the devil.
Same thing.
Shalom,
Megadeth guy.
Shalom.
Hazy.
Yeah, Megadeth, Dave Mustaine. But he was like a Lutheran when he was growing up. I think Lutheranism basically spawned all the satanic stuff because, you know.
He turned into a J-Dub, didn't he?
No, he began as a J-Dub, and then he became a Satanist. And then
No, he was a Lutheran. He was born a Lutheran, then became a J-Dub. Yeah, look it up. He said it in an interview.
Nope.
Lutheran, then J-Dub, then evangelical.
Nope. Someone share this screen right now. I've seen the interview, and he said he grew up J-Dub, and I'll bet.
Hold on.
Look it up.
I'm looking it up.
JWs know they're JWs. That's sort of our thing.
He was raised as a J-Dub.
What did I tell
He said in an interview that he was Lutheran. His family were Lutheran, but that his mum converted to J-Dub.
All right. That's
such a... What do you... You should have said it the first time.
Yeah, nitpicky. Okay, you're both right. Now he's born again. Whatever that means. And...
Bring your own theology. BYOT.
BYOT.
Yeah.
BYOT.
Andre, I got an Orthodox question.
Yeah.
What do you have to do to get kicked out of the Orthodox Church? Get excommunicated? Like, what do you got to do?
Like, how do you mean? Oh, like explicitly affirm, like a heresy that could get you anathematized. But even then, when you get anathematized, it's just like if you say sorry and stop believing that, then you can come back.
You got to be a pretty big deal public heretic to get a big deal public excommunication, Trey.
Yeah.
That's true for Catholicism too. Like, it gets pretty egregious, but there's a bunch of stuff that you just automatically incur excommunication. And like, if you know, you know.
Man, it takes so much work. Gosh.
I mean, that's kind of the point, is that it should be extremely hard to get excommunicated and extremely easy to be reintroduced in the fold. That's kind of like the point, I think.
No, I think it should be extremely easy to get excommunicated. I think you should just do like one
No, that's what modern evangelical churches are. It's super easy to get kicked out and it's very hard to get back in. But I think it's the opposite for traditional churches.
Yeah, but it's very arbitrary what you can get kicked out for easily. You know what I'm saying? Like we've talked about this before around here. Like, if you've got the wrong views on the Trinity, you'll get kicked out. But if you just have questions about God's existence, it's like, let's talk and hang out. And you know, it's okay to be a crypto atheist in an evangelical church, but if you're not sure about the Trinity, they're like, here's the door.
Well, I think it's more like what they can actually give you answers to. If they can give you an answer, then they're like, hey, you can stay. But if they don't know the answer to it, they're gonna be like, get out. We don't want anybody asking questions like that, because I think it's an ego thing. The pastor feels like he has to know the most. So he's like, and I've seen this before. I'm not just making this up. The pastor feels like he has to know the most. So if you ask a question that a pastor can't answer, you're automatically on his bad side, and he's going to start trying to push you to the corner as much as possible. We actually got excommunicated from a church. Like, my family got excommunicated from a Pentecostal church in particular, which doesn't really count because we can just go to a different Pentecostal church and it's fine in the same group of Pentecostal churches. So
be right back.
Yeah, no worries, man. But yeah, like, essentially, I think what happens is if you ask a question that they don't like, so for instance, let's say you're in a Pentecostal church and you say to them, hey, can you like lose your salvation? And if you say anything other than no, they're going to have a problem with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I never understood like the whole once saved, always saved. It doesn't make sense. Like, I was in a Bible study.
It's not in there.
Galatians,
it's not. I mean, seriously, there's
Galatians is kind of difficult.
No, but then there's parts where it says like you can fall away from the faith.
No, but it says if you leave, I never knew you. Isn't that in James?
No. That's in the Gospels where it says like on the day of the Lord that people are going to say, Lord, Lord. who are Lord, we cast out demons in your name, and he's going to say, "Get away from me! I never knew you."
I swear there was a thing in James, but
there's a part in James where it says like, "Faith without works is dead," and if faith working through love is basically what saves.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's literally the opposite of what every Protestant Christian says, which is that like you don't have to work in some sense. We like if the way I've had it told to me is that like, if you're drawing a picture, like the way that we see salvation is like, imagine God is holding your hand and moving the pen with you. That's basically how we see like salvation. It's not like God just rips the pen out of your hand and does everything for you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I still don't get it. But then again, like, I guess it kind of makes sense, like why evangelicals act the way they act, because it's sort of like, as long as you say the formula, you're sort of good. Which is
well, it's basically like what's it called? Muslims, what they do. Ashhadu illallah, that one. What's it called?
The Shahada.
You know what I'm talking. Yeah, the Shahada, that's the one. It's basically like a Shahada. That's what the sinner's prayer is. It's the Shahada, but for a Christian. I mean, evangelicalism is basically like white Islam with a Trinity in there.
Nah, I think it's more closer to like atheism light. You know what I mean?
Well, that too. I mean, it did lead directly to like science and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, science and alchemy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In the 15th and 16th century, that was like a big thing, and the idea of like transmutating metals is how the born again experience got started off. Because before, being born again meant you get baptized and live the life of a Christian. But by this 15th and 16th century, they started stating, well, actually, being born again is like a spiritual rebirth. So it's like a transmutation from the inside, and this philosopher's stone is basically Jesus. Like, they started having these kind of spiritualist explanations of the text. So the modern evangelical doctrine of like born again is actually like rooted in the occult. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, don't play that game. Okay, we please don't say that this is paganism, because
it's not paganism, but it is definitely it's rooted in Western esotericism. Like, that's not even really like disputed. Like, because baptism and born again was like so intimately linked for like 1,000 years, and then it just changed overnight, pretty much.
We got some dissent in the peanut gallery, and I think I would concur, having grown up in the evangelical sphere. Like, it's definitely not baptism per se, not in the way that Catholics and Orthodox understand it, but
Bazzani is isn't he Lutheran?
No. I don't think he is, but
he's Protestant, right?
That's a slur around here. Be careful accusing people of being a Lutheran. I think
I use it as a slur too.
Shut up, you Lutheran.
I mean, that's literally what I feel like. There's something about Scandinavian or like Germanic religions or Christian religions where they're just super critical. And they don't have that kind of loving side to them. There's something about European Christianity that just doesn't have that loving kind of side to it. I see.
Well, that's a pretty broad brush.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the pietistic tradition is a little colder, but that's maybe also just culturally, those people just the warmth is transmitted differently.
Yeah, some people. What do they say? Like love. I'm gonna go like really gay for a second. You know what they say about like love languages? Like, some people do acts of service, and some people do like touch and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think like out of all the Christian like sects, like maybe these pietist guys are like the acts of service, but never words of affirmation. Who knows? That's super gay, but
I mean, well, I hate to tell you, but the love languages have some has some truth to them. And so, like, you know, if you ever find yourself in a relationship with a woman and married, I hate to tell you, but it can be kind of gay sometimes. So
Yeah, no.
When are you announcing the wedding, Andre?
Wait, what?
When are you announcing the wedding?
To the gay?
To your husband?
To my husband. Oh, you little.
I mean, I think that was a clear indication, you know, like.
Nah, man. Nah. I vowed to keep myself away from the colon of another man for the rest of my life.
You didn't have to take it there, bro. You didn't have to take it there. That's even more sussy. But
it is pretty sussy. No, the point. I'm straw manning. Wait. Bazani's saying I'm straw manning.
he was talking about your comments about
your
broad brush comments, which we'll sweep under the rug and move on.
Well, I mean, I would. There's a book that you can read on this. It's called 30 Questions About Western Esotericism or something like that. I'll put the link in the comments at some point. There's a book on this. It comes from, I think it's either Cambridge or Oxford. I can't remember. And there is a thesis in there about the idea that philosophers from the 15th and 16th century were highly influenced by like Christian Kabbalah and alchemy, and that affected their theology during the Reformation. So I'm not just making that up, but I will send the book in the links if people are interested in that. Or even just in the Discord.
Gavin gives us a blessing. God bless you too, Gavin.
Thank you.
Trey, you looking for surf? What's going on here? What are you driving around aimlessly in Puerto Rico for? Just waiting for something to happen?
Yeah, surf was terrible. Like, there was only 1 to 2 feet. And,
it's like Michigan. That's like Lake Michigan surfing. You can come here and get better surfing.
Yeah. Apparently next week is a swell, so I kind of got messed up on that. But, you know, I had some fun. I did, when I was surfing, I felt, like, really bad because, like, it was, like, where the hurricane was. So all the, like, I was just, like, surfing in this rubble, pretty much. Like, I have a video of it, and I was like, oh, my gosh. Like, I wonder if I'm surfing in dead bodies. But then I just kept surfing, you know?
Yikes.
Nice, yeah.
Were you the only one surfing out there?
What'd you say?
Were you the only one out there amidst the dead?
Yeah, I was the only one surfing pretty much. Just a quick little solo trip. Next time I'm going to plan it better so that I actually go. But other than that, I did a bunch of cool stuff. I went ziplining on like the longest zip line in the U.S., so that was fun, you know. Very scary, so yeah.
Wow. Was that exhilarating?
Oh yeah, I cried, but it was fun.
Cried during or after?
I mean, well, like I have water like slapping me in the face, you know.
Well, yeah, it's a lot of wind, right in your eyes.
Yeah. So
yeah, but you weren't like sobbing. You were just.
Yeah, just water was going in my face, you know.
It made your eyes water. Is what you're trying to tell me?
My eyes could be dry.
Yeah.
It's also true. All right, Jonathan, what advice would you give to me, a young 23-year-old man? What should I do with my life?
Well, I mean, you got a good job, right?
I do have a job.
You do, yeah, and it's a good one, right? Oh, I lost it.
Yeah.
Yep, good job. Like career prospects, yeah. Good.
Yep. Hopefully I don't get fired.
Yeah, I mean, always, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Probably get married and have some kids, Trey.
Okay.
That'll take you 80% of the way there on all your meaning crises.
Oh, I sure wish hope. It's gonna suck if I'm like talking to my baby about like Soren Kierkegaard or like, you know, Nietzsche or anything like that. You know, that would be an unfun time where I'm writing him like I'm reading him Zarathustra for bedtime stories. Yeah, that's not really a good vibe, you know.
Yeah, I just don't think you'll do that. I can just trust me on this.
I think I would do it.
Just to take it back a second, I put in the chat thing. The book's called Hermes Explains. It's 30 questions about Western esotericism, page 252 to 260, and it's called Surely Born Again Christianity Has Nothing to Do with Occult Stuff Like Alchemy by Mike A. Zuber, if you want to check that out. So. Not making it up.
Speaking of paganism, are you guys going to celebrate Halloween?
Define celebrate. I got some cute inflatable pumpkins in my front yard, but that's about as far as we get.
I mean, if meeting up with friends and having a drink is considered celebrating, I don't know. Is that considered celebrating?
Always. Celebrating something, right?
Yeah, I'm just
Cheers.
celebrating friends. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. What are you gonna be for Halloween, Trey?
He's himself.
Stop.
An adult?
Right? Isn't even that. I'm thinking of Ted Kaczynski. That's my guess. But I don't know how I'm gonna pull that off. I'm still figuring it out. I was gonna do Guts, but I don't think I have enough time to set everything up, like all the armor and stuff. So we'll see. Maybe another serial killer. That's kind of...
The anime Guts. Is that the one that has a song that goes, you know, like the weird, yeah. Guts OST. What a great little OST. Good times.
All right, guys, I'm gonna call it.
It's been good.
It's been great. Good to see y'all. Trey, safe travels back to LA.
Is he actually in Puerto Rico? I still don't know if this is like a troll or something.
So he claims.
Look, I'll show you the window. Look.
Yeah, that looks like Middle America to me.
It literally looks like it looks like the dual carriageway outside my house. Okay, maybe not.
All right. I mean, he's still driving on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. It's good.
Look, mountain. Look, mountain. Look.
That is a glorified hill.
Doesn't have that type of stuff.
You could be in Utah, man. How do I know?
You could be in Utah. What do I?
All right. I don't want to witness Trey getting into a crash on live TV, so I'm going to call it. Peace, everyone.
Yeah, have a good evening.